Shoot that off. All right. Yes, I love that song. It just makes you feel happy. So, good, good. All right, we are going to talk about ListTrac, which is a Realogy product, and Listhub, which is a third-party vendor. There's a lot of reasons why we have two, and we'll talk about some of those, but it is important that you're aware of it because it does affect how our listings flow, and it affects how our agents' properties are marketed and where their seller reports come from. So I wish there was just one, but because ListHub does not report on Zillow or Trulia, and ListTrac does not report on Realtor.com. Realtor.com and ListHub are owned by the same people, so that's part of why that is set up that way. And we've never been able to get them to talk nice or play nice in the sandbox, so we have two products. Sometimes it's more the merrier. Some of the syndications from ListTrac are the exact same as they are from ListHub. It does not duplicate our properties, which is good. They won't show up twice because of this, but where one doesn't send, the other one will. And it'll also report on those sites too. So let's jump right in. So first and foremost, I want to share our listing feed flowchart. This is in the ASC square on Schmidt Resources, and I did double check to make sure it's the most up to date, and as far as I'm aware, it is. So this is kind of how our listings flow, and this does affect ListTrac and ListSync. ListTrac and ListHub and the seller reports. So we always and forever will start with our local MLS. Michigan, Ohio, Florida, USVI. Every agent is a member of at least one MLS in which they put their listings. So those listings do go in the local MLS first. And then is where it gets crazy. So we have a feed that goes to Account Tech. We have a feed that goes directly to coldwellbanker.com. We have a feed that goes to MoxieWorks for residential properties only. And then recently, over the past, I want to say 2 to 3 years, Zillow and Trulia started taking direct MLS feeds as well. So we did used to feed Zillow and Trulia through our ListHub account, but they got rid of that a few years ago. So that's why there's all of these different feeds. And then further from that, you can see Account Tech does feed Transaction Plan, which is where photos, videos, and open houses can be entered, which then feeds our Realogy/Coldwell Banker back of the house program called Dash. And that in then turn feeds ListSync, which is the back engine behind ListTrac. This is how the properties get to Coldwell Banker Luxury too. So that's why it's important to put those higher res photos in Transaction Plan so that they then feed Dash and they then feed Coldwell Banker Luxury. You can see if you put them in Dash, you're just going to have them pushed back over from Transaction Plan the next time that the feed goes through. So that's why this is set up from here. And you can see Realtor.com does feed from the MLS, but we can enhance our listings with our photos, videos, and open houses through this process, along with ColdwellBankerLuxury.com as well. And then our other feed from here, MoxieWorks, feeds our ListHub account. I'll show you this when we jump over to Desk, but our ListHub account is a grandfathered in words are hard. It's a grandfathered in feed that's just for us, and they don't actually even offer these anymore to anybody. So it does allow us to have our seller reporting for our agents complimentary. Agents don't have to pay for it. Plus, it does give us all of our syndication, excluding Zillow and Trulia, which I always like to add that because if you've been with the firm or in real estate for more than 5 years, that's the way it used to operate. So you can see now it goes MoxieWorks to ListHub, ListHub to Listings to Leads, along with all the other syndication partners that we'll show you. So I always like to suggest just, popping into Schmidt Resources, printing this out and having it, because when there is an issue with syndication, photos are wrong, price is wrong, listing's not there at all, this is a good place to go to see where you should check first. So again, that is in Schmidt Resources and the ASC square, but if you have any problems finding it, just let me know. So we will start with ListTrac. Again, this is brought to us by our brand, by Coldwell Banker. So you are looking at CB Desk because this is where you'll be able to go to it. Agents can choose to opt out of the syndication from Dash, but because we don't really let our agents get into Dash, they have to do it through us as the staff. So they can opt out at that point if they want to from syndication. In order to find ListTrac, You can just type it in. It is 2 T's. And then that will come up. It will also be on your dashboard in one of these. And of course, you can always filter it this way as well. So just depending on how you utilize Desk. So when you click on ListTrac, you should be able to see, that's an error I've never seen before, so we'll see how this is operating today. You should be able to see all of your agents. And if you have regional level access, you'll be able to see different offices as well. On the office level, you should see all of your agents' information. And it does look like we have a fun error that I will notify the help desk of right after. So I'm not sure how much I'll be able to show you. We are having load issues here. Typically on a good day in ListTrac, you would have your graphs here to show you views, inquiries, how many visitors, the top performing listings, the markets in which are being viewed, and then it doesn't look like any of our data is going to come up. I'll get an update on what that error means. Most likely the brand is already aware of it and are working on it, but I will get you an update when I know more. But we will pop over to the product that either you as the ASC and RSC can set up for your agents, or the agents can do this themselves as well. And that is under listings. You can see all of the properties. Again, an agent's only going to see their own properties, but staff will see anybody in their office. You can view the online analytics. You can set up the delivery of a seller report, or you can view the seller report. I always like suggesting just popping right into the green option because you can get to the other 2 options. I'm sorry. Always popping into this black option here because the other 2 will load into there as well. And you can see right here, seller report status, not scheduled. Obviously, if it is on a schedule, it would show up there. So we'll just pop into view online analytics. So this is where you can view the seller report if you want to, set it up if you want to, and view it here. So those other 2 options that were on the first screen are available right here. This particular property has probably not been listed long. It's only had 9 views, but you can see this is all the information that will be reported on from ListTrac. And some of these heat maps and such should have showed up on the dashboard, except for we got that error, so of course it's not going to show up. So from here, you can send the report to the seller by clicking the blue box, fill in the seller information, the email, maybe there's more than one owner, so you want to CC somebody else. You can BCC somebody as well. The reply to should be the agent's email as it's notated as their business email. You can CC the agent, so if you're setting this up for an agent or an agent setting up for themselves, they can CC it, so at the same time it goes to the seller, it goes to them. The subject can be changed, or it can be left as the default. Same with the body of the email here. You can choose to include metrics from competing brokers. So this would be listings listed by Century 21s or Keller Williams or anybody else in the market, or you can choose to not include that, just depending on the communication that you want to have or your agent wants to have with their sellers. And then you have your delivery options. You can choose to send weekly, which in a small inventory hot market that we find ourselves in right now may be more prudent. You can send bi-weekly, you can send monthly, and you can send immediately. Now, unless this has been listed for a bit of time, you don't necessarily want to send it immediately because it's just not going to have much data. It hasn't been syndicated fully. People haven't had a chance to view it yet. So you can set this up on day 1 as soon as you list it and it feeds through. And then you can choose to send bi-weekly and submit. And then in 2 weeks' time, it will go out to the client. If you choose both, it'll go out today and then again every 2 weeks until it either closes, expires, or gets withdrawn. So to see what those emails look like to give that the sellers will receive, it'll always be branded to your agent's DBA. It'll always have information about the listing. And then it will give them their online activity snapshot, plus it'll give them the option to view more stats. So this is what the actual email will look like when it goes to the seller. Let's pop back to the dashboard just to see if perhaps it cleared itself up. And it did. Look at that. Gotta love technology. Just wait 2 minutes and try again and it works. So this is the information. Again, the agent will only track their own information, but on the brokerage level or the office level, you'll have information from all of them. So you can see we are in ListTrac, so that reports Zillow and Trulia. Listhub, which I'll talk about in a moment, tracks realtor.com, but not Zillow or Trulia. So you can see it gives you your tracking, shows your heat maps. I'm in Michigan's ListTrac, which is why the heat map is pretty much all around Michigan, which makes sense. And then it gives you all this other information. Again, you get to there from CB Desk. The next option is Listhub. Now, where you do want to go to Desk to get to ListTrac, you do not want to go to Desk to get to Listhub. It is an option. If you type in Listhub, you'll see that it is an option for an app. We don't use this Listhub. Like I said, we have our own Schmidt Listhub feed that's been grandfathered in. We've had forever and ever. We've had it since before I was here. So we want to go directly to Listhub. Listhub.com. If you don't have a username and password on the office level, I can set that up for you. The agents get invited to the Listhub as soon as they have a listing go through. So they get a listing, it goes in the MLS, it feeds over to Moxie, Moxie feeds Listhub, and then the following morning they'll get their invite because they have a listing. We can't invite agents until they have a listing. But staff, I can invite just by popping in here and sending out the invite. So you can see we are now in Listhub, and we do have realtor.com stats, but we will not have Zillow or Trulia. You can go over to the publishers list here. And this kind of shows you where all our properties will syndicate. So if you have a question, you're not sure, you can always pop over there and take a look. Or if you go straight to the inventory tab, this is where you can get to the agent's properties in order to set up the seller report from Listhub. So I showed you the product in ListTrac. Listhub has a similar process. You want to go to seller email, same concept, put in the seller information, you can put in CCs, you can put in CCs. For the agent, automatically, you can update the subject if you want to, you can update the body if you want to, or you can leave in the standard. You can choose to send now, where ListTrac said send immediately, and here you can click send now. And then same thing, you can maybe send it one time if you want and then never again. You can send it the Wednesday of every week, the 1st of the month, and the 1st and the 15th of the month. So very similar options as to what ListTrac had. ListTrac only has one option for reports. Listhub has these 4. So market comparison without leads, list view without leads. List view without leads is my favorite. When Listhub uses the word leads, it's not really a lead. It's more about if a client or consumer clicks on the property and clicks the contact me button, even if they don't submit it, Listhub counts that as a lead. So agents will get confused, sellers will get confused. They'll be like, well, wait a minute, we've had 14 leads. Why don't I have a showing? That's not necessarily really a lead. So this particular one that is called the list view without leads looks like this. So this is what the email will look like to the client. Looks like I have some branding to ask to update, which I'm pretty sure I did. So we'll go back and get that updated with our brand new CB Star logo. Agent information will always be on here. And then our views are here, the last 4 weeks and how that graphs out. And then the top views and then the other websites as it's being viewed, as well as the top cities that are viewing the property. So again, very similar products. Split because of some of the association with other people. Listhub and realtor.com are owned by the same company. That's why Listhub reports realtor.com. Zillow and Trulia do report through ListTrac, which is available by the brand. So let me get this back up and go to my questions box. I don't see any questions in here at the moment. Feel free to unmute if you want and ask a question. It does get a little complicated with the multiple feeds that we have and how the systems all talk to each other. All these feeds are basically off the agent's listing ID number that you get from your local board. That's why we have to put it into Moxie. That's why we have to put it into account tax so that the system knows how to flow these listings through which agents they belong to, which then populate our products like ListTrac and Listhub.
Carrie, does this work for commercial as well?
Good question, Sarah. So ListTrac from the brand has their own syndication. So we have a separate syndication for commercial listings. And outside of our Sunstar region, which we use the build out syndication for, everybody else's commercials will syndicate through ListTrac to CBC Worldwide, Brevitas, Crexi, all those other commercial websites. Moxie at this time does not support commercial. So the commercial listings do not get syndicated over to Moxie. But anything provided by CBC, Coldwell Banker Commercial, does work. So great question. What else? All right. Well, if there's no other questions, obviously if you have a listing you're struggling with, it's not showing up, it's showing up wrong, don't hesitate to reach out. A lot of times once we check our systems, if it's all right on our end, we have to reach out to the help desks anyway, so don't hesitate to reach out if you have any questions. Thanks so much for your time today, guys. Appreciate it. Have a great rest of your day.